Hello everyone and welcome back. I am Mr. Cobalt and today we are going to be going over how to set up your unit conversion factors for the metric units. And there's a little trick that I use to help put that together without making a mistake. Um, and so first we have to remind ourselves what the metric units are, or in the prefixes, and what the prefix multipliers are. So I have them written on the board here. And so what I said before, when you're using conversion factors, is that you need to have an equality. And setting up the equality for your metric units is very important because that's going to lead to your conversion factor. If you don't get the equality right, then you're going to get the conversion factor wrong, okay? And we don't want to do that because then you're going to get the answer to the problem wrong. So you got to set up your equality correctly. And here's where a few mistakes can be made, but the way I'm going to show you to do it will avoid any and all of those mistakes, and I'll explain why. So first of all, you need an equality that you're going to be using, and let's say in the problem you need to convert between grams and micrograms. So you need to know what the prefix multiplier is for micro. Either you've memorized it or you've got it on a chart or whatever. But you need to know what the prefix multiplier is for the prefix to the unit that you're using. In this case, micrograms and grams. So the first thing you're going to do is set up the equality between the two units that you want to convert between. This trick that I'm going to show you only works for if you're comparing the base unit to the unit with the prefix. If you want an equality between one prefix and another, then this isn't going to work, but that's okay. I'll show in another video what you can do for that. So here we want to set up the equality between micrograms and grams. So here's my microgram, and I'm going to leave a blank for the number. We'll fill those blanks in a moment. But I'm going to set up the equality. So I have a certain number of micrograms is equal to a certain number of grams. So I'm going to set up the equality, and now I have to figure out what I'm going to put in each blank. And this is the trick. I always put the number one, the one with the prefix, with the unit that has the prefix. I don't put it with the base unit. So in this case, micro is the prefix. So microgram, I'm going to put the 1 here. I'm not going to put it here. So I put the 1 here. So I have 1 microgram. So why do I do that? The reason I do that is because I have micro here and I have gram here. And you'll notice that both sides have gram in common. So I have grams on both sides. But what you'll notice here is I have micro and I don't have any prefix over here. If I know what the prefix multiplier is, then all I need to do is take this part and substitute on this side. So the 1 micro is replaced by the multiplier on that side. So if I know what the multiplier is, I just put the multiplier on that side. So micro is the multiplier 10 to the negative 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 10 to the negative 6 on this side. So 1 microgram is equal to 10 to the negative 6 grams. And this is true. This is the equality, and then now I can use that as a conversion factor. So I can, depending on where I'm converting from and to, I can use one conversion factor or the other. So if I want to go from grams to micrograms, let's say I have 2 grams, then I usually, what I do is I put this over 1, no unit down here, because I'm going to be multiplying by a fraction or a ratio. So that way I make sure everything is ordered on top and bottom. And then, so I have a grams on the top, so I'm going to put grams on the bottom to cancel out. So that means this side goes on the bottom because I need grams on the bottom. This side has grams. So I'm going to take 10 to the negative 6 grams. And then the other side goes on top, 1 microgram. So the grams cancel out. I have micrograms on top, so I've done this right. So when I get the grams, the unit that I want on top, I stop. And so this would be the conversion factor I would use to convert grams to micrograms. And it would be flipped. I would flip this if instead of grams, I had micrograms. So if I have micrograms here, so if I have micrograms and I want to convert micrograms to grams, then I need to flip the ratio to get a different conversion factor in order to convert. So instead of grams on the bottom, now that I have micrograms on top, I need to have micrograms on the bottom to cancel out. That means that this side goes on top, on the bottom. So that's 1 microgram, and this side goes on top, 10 to the negative 6 grams. Okay, so then I can use this to convert. But I need to make sure I set up the equality. Why do I always put the 1 with the microgram or with the prefix? It's to keep myself to be consistent in how I set up my conversion factor. The reason for that is if I'm not consistent, I can easily make the mistake of accidentally, if I redo this. So if I have my microgram is equal to grams, students will often make a mistake here because they'll accidentally put the 1 with the gram. They'll say, okay, this is 1 gram, and then they'll put the multiplier here like that, and then without thinking about what exactly this means, they'll go ahead and use this, right? So if I am in the habit of always putting the 1 with the prefix and then replacing the prefix with the prefix multiplier on the other side, I will never make the mistake of writing the wrong equality, because 1 gram is not 10 to the negative 6 micrograms. This doesn't make sense because a microgram is much, much, much smaller. So remember, if you remember before, if these sides are equal, the magnitudes have to be equal, right? So if this is a larger unit, then this should be, a smaller number compared to this one, because it's going to take less of these to equal this side. So the smaller unit should get the larger number to equal the same magnitude of the larger unit. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So this is a much, much smaller unit, so this should be a much, much, much bigger number than 1, right? So so be careful of that. That is kind of a mistake. So to avoid that sort of mistake, right? Another mistake would be instead of 10 to the negative 6, maybe they'll put a 1 here, and then they'll put 10 to the 6 on that side, right? Again, the same type of errors going on here. So to avoid this sort of error, I always put the 1 with the prefix, the unit with the prefix, and I put the prefix multiplier with the base unit. And I will never make the mistake of switching them or getting the wrong equality, which is easy to make, is an easy mistake to make. So, but let me show you a way you can do this. Let's say, for example, what if you can't put the 1 with the prefix multiplier? Maybe it's a problem that they gave you that you can't just put the 1 with the prefix prefix. So, for example, maybe they want you to fill in, like, so they give you the, maybe they give you the whatchamacallit, the conversion factor, but it's only partially filled. So they give you 1 gram on the bottom, and then they give you micrograms on top, and they want you to fill in the blank, right? So in this case, I don't have the choice of putting the 1 with the microgram. So what do? This is really simple. What you want to do is you think about it in the same way. So if I know that if I put the 1 here and with the prefix, and I put the multiplier, the prefix multiplier on the other side like this, if I need to flip these for some reason, if I want to flip them, maybe I want to put the 1 with the base unit instead. If you do that, then you got to make sure you change the sign on the prefix multiplier. If you write it like this and it's a negative, right? Normally it's a negative, right? This way, if I write it like this, I don't have to worry about changing this to a plus or a minus or anything like that. I keep it the way it is. That's another reason why I do this, is because I don't need to worry about changing signs. If I know what the multiplier is, then I already know what the sign is. But in a case like this where I don't have a choice of putting the 1 with the prefix, then if you're going to flip it, then you got to make sure that you change the sign. So in this case, if I have micrograms equal to grams, if I need to put the 1 here, or you want to put the 1 there, you can put the prefix multiplier on this side, but you need to change the sign. So it's not going to be 10 to the negative 6, but 10 to the 6. So this would be true as well, right? So both of these are equal. So that's just in case if you need to put the 1 with the base unit. So just remember that you take the prefix multiplier, you add it to the unit with the prefix, but you need to change the sign of the multiplier. Okay. So that's the caveat that I want to mention. But if you don't need to worry about putting the 1 with the base unit, I don't worry about it. I always put the 1 with the unit with the prefix, and then that way I know that the base unit that it's equal to is where I put the prefix multiplier, and I never have to worry about making a mistake. And now I can go from my equality. Once I have the equality between my metric units, I can set my conversion factor up 1 over the other depending on where I'm starting and where I'm going. What do I want to convert from and to? Okay. I hope that is helpful. If you have any comments, put them in the comments section. If you like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, and you'll get notifications for other videos. So hit the notification bell as well. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.